Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Bully Ball with me, Alex, and my co-host Joseph. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
This week, 49ers has been pretty slow, pretty slow for the NFL. A couple big things going on, but not too much. We're trying to work on pushing out this content for you guys. We're trying to figure out a guest to come on and speak that's in the works right now. So we'll keep you guys updated with that maybe on the next episode. Um, but let's get it rolling. I guess this will be a shorter podcast because, like we said, there hasn't been much news going on. So probably shorter. We say that, but who knows? We'll touch on the weekly roundup. Probably touch on some comments from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan about Jimmy G. And then we'll probably wrap it up with the mock draft. Alrighty. For the weekly roundup this week, Arden Key was signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars for 1 year. I believe it was $7 million. Um, and the Niners already had his replacement in Kerry Hyder. So I think Hyder will transition pretty seamlessly. The only thing that is to note that I've kind of realized was Hyder's not as good of a interior player as Key was, because Key did get a lot of his sacks playing on the interior on that third down. Um, Hyder obviously is not as good as that because they were trying to do that with him in Seattle, and he wasn't as successful. Um, but we shouldn't need him to play inside because our defensive line depth is pretty adequate, in my opinion, to where he can stick mainly outside, opposite of Bosa. Um, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Arden Key was brought in to play edge, and then they realized pretty early on that he was a better fit in on the inside. Um, like I said, I think the edge position is pretty set for the year. Um, if someone falls to you in the draft that is a good interior rusher, I would definitely look at taking them. Person that comes to mind for me is Perry on Winfrey, MVP of the Senior Bowl. Some great interior rush moves. You know, if someone like that falls to you, take them. If not, you're fine. Like I said, at the end of the season, the edge rush wasn't the issue with the team. It was that interior push on the pass rushing downs. So yeah, Arden Key will be missed. He got his deal. Same way like Kerry Hyder, he got paid after 1 year. So hopefully he can produce over in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. Reuniting with former 49ers GM Trent Baalke. No comments on Trent Baalke from me. Um, Speaking about the edge position, John Lynch at the um, owners meeting, the annual NFL owners meeting, he had this to say about D Ford. He said, "I don't see a lot of hope in him being a factor for us on the field moving forward." And then Nick Wagner goes on to say Ford's back injury just hasn't progressed to give Niners belief a return is possible, which is surprising because I thought that D Ford was progressing well, and he was posting highlights and stuff on his Instagram story, so I thought he was going to be able to come back this year and play, but it doesn't look like that according to John Lynch. That he'll probably won't be on the team, probably be cut after June 1st or before June 1st, and have that June 1st designation to get us that 2.6 mil or something, and then D Ford will be gone. What are your thoughts on that? I know you're probably
Yeah.
happy about that.
No, it was interesting because we D Ford was posting again, so he sounded motivated, like he was good, getting ready to go. And then the 49ers did restructure his contract already this year, so that also was an implication that like, hey, he may not be like 100%, but he's probably going to play this year. So that was an interesting comment. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, he can get better. Because I mean, at this point, you're not really saving much with him off the team. So you'd rather get that production with and it's just unfortunate. The dude has all the talent in the world, but he just can't stay on the field. So
Yeah. Because those few games that he did play last year at the beginning of the year, he did produce decently. He had a couple sacks against Detroit, I believe. He had a sack or two against Seattle. So he produced, but just same old story with him, just can't stay healthy, which is unfortunate for the 49ers.
yeah,
Um, Another news item that relates to the 49ers was the Los Angeles Rams signed Bobby Wagner. So the 49ers aren't getting away from Bobby Wagner anytime soon, unfortunately. Um, the dude's a baller. You know, he's older, but he's still one of the best linebackers in the game, if not the best. Um, I don't specifically blame the 49ers for not going after him, especially he's getting like 10 mil a year. And the 49ers linebackers core is stacked. You know, you have Fred Warner, Aziz Al-Shaair, and Dre Greenlaw stacked. Those are good linebackers, young guys. Um, so I don't specifically blame the 49ers for not going after Bobby Wagner. What are your thoughts?
it's unfortunate he's staying in the NFC West, but the 49ers have found ways to get the ball around them and past them. You know that Rams defense was good last year. They're going to be good this year. You have to be better than them. And last year the 49ers were able to pull it off twice, but not when it mattered. You got to make plays on offense. Best way to beat a great defense is to have a great offense. So,
And the 49ers won't have to worry about throwing 10 yards over the middle of the field every play, too, with Trey Lance. So that is another um, thing that'll help the Niners offense when playing Bobby Wagner and great linebackers like that. Uh, any other 49ers news of the week?
yes, Ross Dwelly re-signed 1-year deal. I was not a huge fan of that one because first off, he was never used. Um, you could say the same thing. Kittle was never used, so that makes the second tight end definitely not used at all. Um, I thought they could have upgraded the tight end position through the draft between Dwelly and Warner. I thought there was an upgrade in the draft. A lot of players that you could have brought in that would give you more pass catching ability. Because we know the 49ers have good run blocking tight ends. I feel like they could upgrade the pass catching aspect behind Kittle, but they brought him back. Tight end position looks full. Same with the running back position looks full. They brought all the guys back. Um, they're basically filling the roster so then they can just attack the holes that they do have on the team, which is a smart idea. I just felt like there were upgrades that could have been had.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really like the Ross Dwelly signing either. Charlie Warner beat him out at the end of the year, like end of the year playoff time. Charlie Warner was pretty much the second tight end.
Yeah,
And Charlie Warner isn't a great tight end by any means either, you know. He's a good
he's
blocker,
just
but
a
that's
good
about it.
blocker.
Yeah. Um, so it's kind of disappointing. I would have liked to see the 49ers address it in the draft because there is a lot of good draft tight ends that are great pass catchers or at least have good upside to be pass catchers and decent blockers, you know. Um, Same with the Jeff Wilson signing. I don't know if we touched on it last pod, but I'm not a huge fan of that
We
one either
did, yeah.
because you have Trey Sermon right there, who's pretty much like the same build, can do the same things in my opinion. So why bring back Jeff Wilson? I don't understand that one.
And the
But
thing is I liked Jeff Wilson, but the team didn't like him because they didn't use him. So, I mean, it's just same thing. I feel like you could have brought in someone that could have done something different because you have the guys that are pretty similar to him on the roster, but we'll see when the draft rolls around. Maybe they do bring someone in to compete with these guys, but we'll see what happens. You want to pull up the quotes or speak about the quotes about Jimmy from the John Lynch and Kyle?
Yep, let's do it. I got a few little snippets here. So these quotes that we're going to be talking about came from the annual owners meeting that happened this last week, and it's mainly from John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, and then the 49ers owner Jed York also spoke on it a little bit. So this was a little snippet from John Lynch. He said, "The decision that was made for Jimmy to have surgery certainly caused a lot of teams to pause and at least slow down the process to do their due diligence. He made a decision for his long term, along with doctors, that he needed that surgery. We all blessed that, but that did affect his market. So now we hold on to him." So there it is right there saying that obviously the surgery affected the trade market for Jimmy G. Um, so that's probably the reason why Jimmy G is still a 49er right now, which is unfortunate. Timing is weird. I was listening to 49ers talk with Matt Mayoko, and he was saying he spoke to a surgeon about it and was like, a surgeon said a good surgeon will tell you, like, let's wait, let the inflammation go down, see how you're moving with it, and then we'll decide if you have surgery. So maybe that was the case that Jimmy G went with. Maybe the doctor's like, let's not operate right now, right after the season. Let's take some time, see how it heals by itself, see how you move with it, and then we'll see if surgery isn't like needs to be done. And then maybe at that time they decided to have surgery. What are your thoughts?
1 second. We have our guest coming on. He's going to join us, and he's going to give an outsider perspective from not being a 49er fan. He's a New Orleans Saints fan. So I'm going to add him, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Welcome, Gabe. We're speaking
Hey,
on
what's going
something real
on, boys?
quick, and then we'll have you speak on it as well.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So we have John Lynch also stated that the 2 second round picks that were supposedly offered wasn't true. He said they never received any trade offer for Jimmy G. And I agree with the surgery happening. I wouldn't have offered anything for him. You never know what you're going to get in return. Um, Kyle Shanahan also said, they're keeping him on the roster, but it's not going to affect Trey Lance. Trey's going to take all the reps and everything. So, as an outsider, Gabe, how do you see the whole Jimmy G thing? Do you think he's going to be traded? Do you think the team's going to keep him? Um, do you think he could start for a different team?
Honestly, first of all, I think he can start for a different team. The major problem for him, he's always just been super unhealthy. Like, he's always had injury problems since coming to the 49ers. I think, an exception for that first year playing, he played pretty much most of the season, but for the most part, he's always had an injury throughout most of his time as a 49er. But I honestly think you guys are just going to have to keep him on the roster for the whole season. I don't think your guys are going to be able to make a trade for him. I think everyone's just really skittish about his injuries.
So, do
Yeah,
you
I agree.
think?
There's really no reason for a team to
And
trade
everyone,
for him because they see that nobody's traded for him now. So they'll be like, why give up draft picks when we can just wait and sign him if he gets cut? And the Niners aren't going to cut
exactly.
him, as they said.
And
So
everyone, for the most part, most teams already have a quarterback that they are sticking to this year. I think, exception for Carolina is the only team I think that's really looking for a quarterback right now, and maybe the Giants. I think they're kind of over the whole Daniel Jones experiment right now.
And they both could draft a guy early. So,
Exactly.
how do you feel? Would you take Baker Mayfield or Jimmy G? Say your team is in position to make the playoffs. They just need a QB.
Ooh, man, that's tough. Well, I would probably take Jimmy just because he has the experience of being on a playoff team and starting behind a great playoff quarterback. Tom Brady, he kind of has that experience already going in. Baker really doesn't have the experience, and he also has injury problems as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So being a Saints fan, would you rather have Jameis Winston or would you have wanted Jimmy G?
No, I wanted Jameis. I was a big Jameis fan last year. So he was on
Interesting.
track for having his best season until he got hurt, and he was playing with a bunch of scrub receivers. Like he didn't have Michael Thomas. His number one receiver was, I think last year was Deontay Harris, who's 5'9" or 5'7".
Yeah. That's a good point. Very
As a
true.
Saints fan, who are you, or who is the team looking at in the draft? Who do you think they're going to take in the first round?
It's kind of hard to say right now. If anything goes, you already know how the Saints do it. Like we always do something stupid in the first round. Like I think was it 2 years, 3 years ago when we traded two first round and a second round for Marcus Davenport. Uh, we always do something. We always find a way to mess it up. I feel like in the first round we are better like late round draft team. I feel, but hopefully we go after a receiver. I think we really need someone to complement Michael Thomas this year, and maybe looking at some linemen now that we let our left tackle walk down to
Armstead.
Miami. Yep.
All right. Last question we got for you. Early Super Bowl prediction this year. Who do you think it's going to be?
Early Super Bowl prediction. Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know, man. I think AFC West, anyone in that division has a shot right now, but I think the Bills actually are going to come in and make a surprise Super Bowl appearance this year. I think they have everyone. They didn't really lose anyone, and then they just kept adding, and they're only going to get better. Josh Allen still he's good, but he's still developing. He's only in his fourth season.
Yeah, I think he's early 20s still, mid 20s, something like that.
Yeah. So there's still only room for improvement. But NFC, oh man, that's hard. It's anyone's game in NFC. Like there's not really anyone really standing out too much as well. But obviously you got to worry about Tom Brady and the Bucs still. If the Packers can get some receivers, they're always in contention.
The Rams are still up there too.
Yeah, the Rams are still up there too, and they just keep adding. I don't know where this money comes from, but they just be grabbing everybody.
I agree. Yeah, I also
Let me
go ahead.
No, I'll do my part last.
Yeah, I also think the Bills, I think the AFC West is going to beat each other up, and then the Bills are going to be fresh and take out whoever they have to make it.
Yeah.
Maybe the Browns. The Browns are in the AFC, right? With Deshaun,
yeah.
if he
Yeah.
can play this year, you
I
never
didn't even
know.
think about that. Yeah, if Deshaun plays, I think that boy should just fake an injury and run with the money, though.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any more questions for him, Joe?
Nope. You have any closing
All right.
thoughts, Gabe? Anything?
No,
you
wait.
was
Hold on.
thinking?
Don't close them out
All right.
yet. I want to pull this up real quick and get your thoughts on it. Just walk us through what was going through your head during this, please.
Oh no! I know something bad.
You guys see that?
Yeah, I can see it. I don't know. Is this for the Kittle? Is this the Kittle play? Yep.
It is.
I was so hurt.
So as a Saints fan, running it back, there was 30-something seconds left. You guys are up by a point. We're pinned back at the 33-yard line, our own 33. And then 4th and 2 as well. 4th and 2, and they give up this to Kittle. Face mask, jumping on his back, like looking like Pee Wee football, jumping on his back and stuff to get him down. As a Saints fan, what's your thoughts on that play? What was going through your head during that whole sequence?
Okay, so that drive, we had just scored. I think there was like a big play with Michael Thomas, like it happened right before that. Got down the field, scored. I was like, we got this in the bag. I was like, they only got 30 seconds left. I was like, there's no way we mess this up. But then again, that's when the Saints secondary was questionable. and
Hey.
we would just let anything happen. It was very terrible. I was pissed. I think I just turned off the TV and walked away after that happened.
We as 49er fans, we go through a lot of heartbreak. So do the Saints. Remember that was it the NFC Championship with the Rams?
No,
Boy,
the fight.
it was
Oh, the Rams. Yeah.
2018, and then the year before that, it was the whole Stephon Diggs. Remember the Minneapolis
Yeah.
Miracle? It was just heartbreak after heartbreak, man. I was hurt.
So they
Yeah,
go through it too. They got their Super Bowl win in the recent. When was that one?
That one was 2009, so it's been a
Yeah,
little
see,
bit.
but they've had a Super Bowl win since we've been alive. So at least they got
My boy
one.
Drew
We haven't.
Brees.
How do you think you guys are gonna fare without Sean Payton this year?
I think we're gonna get off to a bumpy start. You know, like it's kind of like we got a defensive-minded coach now, and then still like we got. I mean, it's fluidity still because we have Pete Carmichael still, but as our offense coordinator. But I think it's just gonna be a little bumpy at the start. But I think we'll come together towards like as the season goes on.
Yeah. You guys are in a decent conference to where you can struggle at first and then end up coming back around. Decent
Exactly, and
division
then
with you really only have to worry about the Bucks. You know, the Panthers are the Panthers, and then the
yeah.
Falcons are gonna
You know,
be
I'm not really
terrible.
too worried about the Bucks in the regular season, though. We kind of own them. Tom Brady's never beat us since he's been there on the regular season. But
How
you
would
know,
you
that's not what
feel?
matters. Playoffs matter.
How would you feel? Say the Panthers come through and trade for Jimmy G. Would you feel threatened by them with their current roster setup?
Mm, yeah, I think so. They have a pretty nice defense. Like they have a lot of young players on there. They still have DJ Moore, who's a nice receiver. I think that's what they need to do, though, is if they were to trade for a quarterback, they need to get receivers for sure. They still got Christian McCaffrey. You know, they're a dangerous offense. They just got to get that quarterback. I think that's what they're missing this year. Because if you think about it, what was it? The first time we played the Panthers, like in the beginning of the season, I think it was like fourth week, they fucked us up. With Sam Darnold as their quarterback. That's when, remember, they were like 5-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were doing good, and then all of a sudden he just fell off.
You heard it here, Panthers. From your division, they said they would fear you if you got Jimmy G. Make the trade.
Make the
Jimmy
trade.
G healthy,
Yeah.
though. I remember we had a lot of good battles, though, between the Saints and the Niners in the recent years, though. Remember that playoffs, and when was that, 2015? With Vernon Davis
When the
touchdown?
Niners were in the catch 3 or 4, whatever catch number that was, with Vernon
Yeah.
Davis. Yeah. Alex Smith
Or
running
Yeah.
like crazy.
Because that's when we had I thought that game, that's the same way I felt with that George Kittle, though, because I remember Jimmy Graham had caught that long touchdown pass, and I was like, oh, we got this in the bag, and then that happened.
or that time you guys beat us when Justin Smith smacked Drew Brees and we were gonna win the game, but then they threw a
It was
flag.
Oh, yeah.
It was
I forgot
Ahmad
about
Brooks.
that.
You remember he tore off Drew Brees' head, and then they threw the flag on it, and we ended up
Yeah.
losing because of that. Yeah.
But I'm excited. You know, we got I think we stole Street from y'all, so I'm excited for that. He's pretty nice.
He's a good player. He just needs more playing time. He's a really flashy player. He makes plays where you're like, dang, this dude's good, but then
And
doesn't stay
that's
on
the
the
good thing
field.
about the Saints, though, is like we do a lot of rotation, so everyone's always rotating on that defensive line.
And that's good. Yeah. He's a good player. You guys will like him.
The only problem is our right side. I feel like no one could ever be healthy. We got Peyton Turner, that rookie last year. He's always hurt. And then who else? Who's our other DN? Can't even think right now. Damn, shooting blank.
Cam Jordan.
Davenport, I remember.
No,
you
not
saying
Cam Davenport. There you go. He's always hurt too. I think this is the most healthy he's been, and he had a pretty decent season this year.
Yeah.
But I just don't think we should have let that boy walk to Bengals. Trey.
Oh yeah, he was making plays all year.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Gabe. We appreciate it. Favorite draft prospect this year? Last question.
Boy, I think that I was just looking him up today. Stigley from LSU corner.
Corner.
I think he kind of got overshadowed. He's nice. He has really good ball skills.
The injuries hurt him. I
Yeah, the
remember
injuries
his
hurt him a
freshman
lot,
year.
but he's nice, man. I think he's gonna be good if he could stay healthy.
I
There's been
agree.
film of him locking up Jamar Chase at LSU practices back a couple
Mhm.
years ago. So yeah, it's somebody to keep your eye on.
And he could do
See
all,
where he's
like I was
going.
watching him make some big hits. He's a ball hawk. He makes those reads to jump the ball. He's gonna be good if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for
Hopefully
having me.
we'll have you on. Hopefully we'll have you on again sometime.
Yep, sounds good. Catch y'all later.
Later.
Peace.
All right. Any more news, 49er updates for us?
I don't think so. I mean, did we touch on? We didn't touch on all the John Lynch and Shanahan quotes, right?
No, we still have some Shanahan ones.
Do you want to touch on the Shanahan ones?
Yeah, let me see.
So, like,
But
I'll touch on this last. While you're looking that up, I'll just show this last John Lynch quote. He said, "He's too good of a player. I think Jimmy will be playing for us or he'll be playing for someone else. He's too good of a player not to be." And he said that on a scenario if the 49ers would cut Jimmy G. And like we were just talking there with Gabe, like Gabe thought that the Niners were just going to keep him throughout the rest of the year because they're not going to find a trade partner for him. And they said we're not going to cut him. But to piggyback off of that, John Lynch has to say that. If he wants to trade him, he has to say that. Because if he says, oh, yeah, if he's not traded, we're just going to release him. And then that's like we said, teams are going to be like, why trade for him if we can just sign him instead of giving up draft capital? So I don't know how inclusive that is of like, okay, the 49ers aren't going to cut him, because they have to say that. They have to say that to keep their leverage. But I wouldn't put it past the 49ers to keep Jimmy, because the 49ers are the biggest believer in Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, all the way from the higher personnel, GMs, owners, all the way down to the lowest player. They all believe in Jimmy G. They all believe him to be a great leader, a great player, a winner. So the 49ers are the biggest believer in Jimmy G in the NFL. So I wouldn't put it past them to keep him. But at the same time, they can't say they are going to release him because that would give up all leverage that the 49ers had in finding a trade. What are your thoughts on those? On the
well, let
comments?
me jump into the Kyle stuff because John likes to, go around the circle where Kyle's a little more cut and dry because he's just a football coach. He don't care. So let's just say what he had to say. So he was speaking on a Trey here. He's saying, you've got to make sure that you're not hindering his development. Trey's working his tail off. He knows how I feel about him. He knows what our expectations are for him. And I think he's got a lot of respect for Jimmy. But the situation is clear. We're trying to make a move to add some draft picks, and we were pretty close to it. And then Jimmy ended up getting surgery, which changes things. And then he says, I think Trey will understand all that. I haven't had to talk to him about it, but I think it makes sense for all these guys. Trey's not an insecure guy. I think the situation makes sense. There's nothing sneaky going on about it, and he's confident. Um, and then he said, Jimmy is not the most communicating guy. He hasn't talked to him during the off season. And just with those comments right there, Kyle saying like Trey's the guy. We tried to move Jimmy, and unfortunately, he had the surgery. Kind of sounds like he doesn't agree with like the timing of it, but he says it is what it is. This is the situation. We've told Trey like what's going on. And then he goes on to say when he spoke with Matt Mayoko that he might not name the starter for a bit, which is probably, he spoke with John and John like, hey, you're killing the trade value. If there is any, you can't announce or say anything more as to like who's going to be starting because like you said, once you say that, team's just going to wait you out. Hey, we know we'll pick this guy up right before the season. We don't care once you cut him. We're not trying to give up anything. So he then goes on to say that's why we looked into trading Jimmy because we obviously believe Trey can be the starter and we're ready to do that. But if we can't upgrade our team in another way, we're not going to just get rid of a good quarterback because we have other quarterbacks on our roster. Quarterbacks are really hard to come by. Some teams don't have any at all. The fact that we have 3 on our team that we're happy with is a good thing. You always want to upgrade your team. We have all guys that are capable of starting. Jimmy's done a great job for us. We brought Trey here to do that eventually. I think that'll be sooner than later, though. And that's what Shanahan had to say.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think Shanahan's more direct with it. That, he said Trey Lance will be the starter sooner than later. I think that's what they want. That's what they want, but they can't just flat out say, yeah, Jimmy G's cut or Jimmy G's this because that gives up all leverage. So they have to act like they still want him, even if they don't. And I think it was interesting how he said that Jimmy's not the most communicative person in the offseason because I don't know if you remember, but there were reports that came out saying that the 49ers were like shocked and disappointed with Jimmy G deciding to get surgery. So he could have not told him and just been like, yep, I'm getting it. And then the agent's like, yeah, he just had surgery. And then the Niners are like,
Yeah.
what the hell happened? I thought you weren't getting it. So I don't know how that relationship is going on behind closed doors. Maybe it's soured a bit, that relationship between Jimmy G and Shanahan and Lynch. Maybe that's soured and gone south. So something to keep your eye on.
I agree. It's unfortunate, but it is the situation. Every day it becomes clear that he could be on the roster next year.
Yeah.
Bringing on Gabe, I think, is a helpful example because he don't care about the 49ers, and he said, yeah, the Panthers would be better and could compete with Jimmy. So, having some outside perspective helps us as fans, but also I think, Jimmy is going to be moved eventually, and I think he could help a team, some team. Um, and as the off season progresses, injuries happen. Something is going to come to fruition. We just have to be patient, and it's hard, but it is what it is.
The next step here, too, is the 49ers are going to open up their offseason workout programs on Tuesday, April 19th. These, of course, are optional, but it'll be interesting to see how many players show up. Because if you remember, I think it was last year, they had like over 80% participation in the offseason program that was voluntary. So these players were showing up on their own, which is interesting. I mean, of course, there's like incentives and money tied into it, but still, over 80% participation is interesting. I obviously don't think we'll see Jimmy there because he's going to be recovering from the surgery, so there's really no point. But that's something to keep your eye on. That's coming around the corner here pretty soon.
Oh, one last thing that was stated is I think it was John Lynch. He said that he sees Kinlaw at the
Yeah,
facility every day, and he looks to be in the best shape of his life. So take
yeah.
take with that what you will, but he did state that.
This was from Jed York as well. He said they have my authority to put the roster together as they see fit. If that's what it is, then as long as we're competing and winning football games, then they have the ability to do what they think is best to help us win. That was in reference to the 49ers keeping Garoppolo. So he's saying as long as we're winning and competing, then he's okay with it. So that's interesting, interesting for coming from the owner.
It's good. It's good he stays out of it. Some
Yeah,
owners too intrusive on the team, and they shouldn't be.
like the Cowboys, Jerry Jones.
Yep.
Yes, I agree. All right. Do you have any other comments on what Lynch or Shanahan spoke about?
Nope. It's draft season. We're in April. End of the month is a draft. Exciting time for all the young guys. And we're getting closer. We see the needs. We know what we need on the roster. And there are some great players in the draft. So let's jump into our weekly mock draft simulator.
All right. For this one, let's say that we can throw some trades if there is a player that we see that we like. All right. So we'll get into because I don't think the Niners will trade up into the first round, but let's see what we're looking at in the early second round or so. Then we'll pause. Then we'll see if there's somebody that we might want to trade up for. Speed this
You
up.
got
It's kind of
yeah,
slow.
thing going slow.
That's a good pace. Jordan Davis going off. That's the huge defensive lineman that ran super fast. Let's see. Let's look at the round picks 40s around. Skip the Seahawks. We'll look at the Colts, Falcons.
I saw Travis Jones go off the board. Great player.
Let's see. Do you know how I look to see what players are still up there? I mean, we can just look at who went. It's Kyler Gordon, corner. A lot of the quarterbacks coming off: Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter, all within the last few. Matt Corral, Kenyon Green, good guard. Boye Mafe going. David Ojabo. This was somebody I would have liked the Niners to take if he would have fell to 61 since he just got hurt, but doesn't appear that that'll happen. Lewis Sign, one of my favorite safeties in the draft. Zion Johnson, my ultimate draft crush.
We really
So
can't see the board.
I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't
That's
think so.
terrible.
Or, oh, look, you can even throw in players. But
Scroll down a
no.
little. On the side, yeah, nothing.
No. But you still have Christian Watson. He's still on the board, obviously. Yeah, I wish you could see. Do you think it'd be worth it to throw a trade maybe for Christian Watson? If you want to pull up your own board so you can see a reference of who is possibly still up there.
No, we're too far. You'd have to trade too much to get into the 40s,
So you can say
in my
keep
opinion.
going.
Yeah.
Would you want to stop at the 50s or keep trucking along until our pick?
This first round, I think we just pick where we're at, to be honest with you. There's a lot of good players. Petrie just went off, I saw.
Roger McCreary.
Petrie is the
Christian
guy.
Watson just went.
Yeah, Petrie's the guy that I would want, him or Watson, to be honest, at this pick. If they don't fall to us, I would trade up a couple picks to get one of them.
That's
To be
interesting.
honest.
I don't really know how to feel about Petrie's, especially after the signings of Odom and everything, and then Tavarius Moore coming back. I don't know if Petrie's the. I don't think I'm as high on Petrie as some people are.
I'm very high on Petrie because he could instantly be your best slot corner, and he has the ability to drop back and play deep safety as well. But
All right.
you know,
So here's the
Jaquiski Tartt's
board.
still out there.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's back.
And we touched on the last pod. You remember the Niners could use like some vet option thing that would allow them to take a small cap hit but pay him more money. So that's still an option.
Yep.
Looking at the board, Kingsley and a Garbe, and I don't even know that
And
dude.
Akbare.
And Agbare, he's still on the board. Interesting player out of South Carolina. Drake Jackson, another edge guy, interesting player. Darian Kennard, tackle from Kentucky. Kirby Joseph, it's a good safety playmaker. Dylan Parham, as I'm pretty high on. But I think my draft tactics have shifted a bit because I feel like there's a lot more players in the third, fourth, fifth round that you can get and will be instant impact players along our offensive line. So I think I would prefer to draft a skill position at this pick rather than an offensive lineman. But I'll let you go ahead and make this pick here. You see Alec Pierce, Kellen Deach.
Guy we've been becoming higher on as the process has gone on.
6'3", 213. He had 873 yards, 8 touchdowns. Need to log into my account to get the more stats, but still very good slot receiver. Anybody else that you're liking? Perrion Winfrey right there.
Winfrey. Here I'd probably say I would be interested in Perrion Winfrey, Alec Pierce, and probably Kirby Joseph, if I'm being honest.
Right. So let me ask you this. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but just restate it for the podcast. How would you feel about taking Perrion Winfrey here, given we have Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, Hassan Ridgeway, Kevin Gibbons? We have good interior defensive lineman depth. Would you want to spend this pick on a player that's not necessarily a need, but is a pretty good player in Perrion Winfrey?
The one thing we said is the interior pass rush of the 49ers is bad. And this dude is probably the best interior pass rusher in the draft. If there isn't a better fit available, I would take him. But here, I would also be fine taking Alec Pierce or Kirby Joseph. Both good players, impact players as well.
So who you going with?
Even Enagbare is a good player here. I'm just not as high on him as others are. I'll let you pick. I gave you the options.
No, this is your pick. This is your guy. You can't
All right,
tread water like that.
Here I am taking Perrion Winfrey.
Perrion Winfrey.
Yep.
Defensive lineman, Oklahoma. Like we said, he's a great player. Go watch his Senior Bowl highlights, and that'll show you a lot of what Perrion Winfrey is.
He was devastating players at the combine.
Yes.
And if you can add that interior pass rush along with Bosa and whoever on the other side of the good, like decent pass rushers you have with Eric Armstead, that could be devastating.
All right, so here we are at pick 93. This is the money rounds, in my opinion. You still have Kellen Deach, you have Donovan West, Cole Strange, Max Mitchell, Zach Tom, Luke Fortner. Those guys, in my opinion, fit the 49ers perfectly and can be instant starters right away. You have Brian Cook, who's a pretty good safety out of Cincinnati. D'Angelo Malone, I was watching some stuff on him. He's a decent edge player. Who are you looking at here?
I am taking the best O-line fit here. So whoever you think that is, I'm fine with any of those guys, to be honest. I like them all.
Yeah, I really like Kellen Deach. Um, but he is a tackle, so he'd have to transition into the guard, so that might be a struggle at first. So I'm going to hope that he's going to be there maybe at our next couple picks. I think right here I'm going to go with Cole Strange, the center from
Yep,
Chattanooga,
take them.
guard center. Like it says here, it doesn't take long to pick out Strange along the offensive line and watching Chattanooga's tape. He has elite explosiveness for an interior lineman, which is key in the 49ers system. His 78.8 overall grade against Kentucky this past year leaves a lot to be excited about what he can be. I think he comes in and instant impact, takes one of the guard or center spots. I mean, he would take a guard spot because Alex Mack's going to come back this year, they're assuming. So there's an instant start guard. Here we are again at pick 105, one of our comp picks. And like I said, Kellen Deach still here. Donovan West could play guard center as well. Zach Tom, tackle, extremely athletic. You still have D'Angelo Malone, good edge player, like I
Unfortunately,
said.
Brian Cook went off. I would have been
Yep.
interested in him here.
Myjai Sanders.
My J. Here I am probably Chris Paul. I like Chris Paul a lot
Yep.
too.
You got Chris Paul.
Here I am probably looking at Zach Tom. I'm looking for a tackle here. Tackle that maybe could possibly play guard.
I've heard a lot
But they
about
don't.
this Sam Williams guy too from Ole Miss,
Yeah,
edge player.
I like Sam Williams as well. But I'm fortifying the O line. So if you like Deesh better than Tom, take him. But I want a guy that could start at right tackle here if need be.
Yeah, I think Deach is that guy. I mean, Deach and Tom, I don't feel like you can go wrong with either of them. Most athletic interior offensive line prospect in the class. He's so sudden in his ability to mirror, helping him earn a 92.1 pass blocking grade this past season. So here, he only played left tackle last year, 7 snaps at right tackle. So it'd be interesting to see if he could flip over because I've heard from multiple linemen that it's hard to switch over from left to right. I heard
Was
that from
Deesh
Taylor Lewan.
was
He's an
Deesh a
offensive
right?
tackle. So here, no, Beach was also left tackle, strictly left tackle, which will be interesting. But I think they would be able to do it, and they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have to have the pressure to start right away because you still have McGlinchey, assuming that he's coming back healthy. Um, I'm thinking Deach is the guy. What do you think,
Take him. Yep,
Deach?
take him.
All
I
right.
just wanted this third round feels like it's going to be the golden round for O linemen to me.
Yep.
You got a lot of great guys there that could possibly come in and start. So
Mm-hmm.
I would use that round to fix the O line.
Yeah. At this pick as well, I wouldn't be mad with D'Angelo Malone either, the edge player from Western Kentucky. Before we take him, I just thought it was funny. For the Texans, it says the needs, every position.
Kind of true.
Yep, we're going Kellen Deach.
So now we've gone Perry on Winfrey. We've been in the trenches the whole draft,
Yep.
basically. The
And that's
trenches,
what the
man.
Niners believe in too, is winning in the trenches, Winning in the trenches. Bully ball. Bullying the other team's lines. That's what we're known for.
Zach Tom is still here. Jeez.
Yeah. I don't know if you can take 3 straight O linemen though.
No, I wouldn't at this point. Cordell Flott is a good nickel, I've heard. I haven't watched any of them.
That's something to keep your eye on then as well. Chris Paul, your guy. Noah Ellis, the huge D tackle.
Oh, Tyreek Smith is an edge I like too.
Tyreek Smith, Sterling Weatherford. You seem to have a little bit more knowledge on Cam Jurgens. This was another guy that I really liked
Yeah, I
a
like
lot.
Cam.
We touched on him in the last pod. So that's something to keep your eye on. Kyle Phillips, I know you were touching on him.
Hey, don't be surprised if the 49ers draft Kyle Phillips. He's like a Trent Taylor clone, man.
Kevin Austin, Leon O'Neal.
Here, I'm going with Marquise Bell, safety.
Who?
He's up a little. Down,
This guy?
yeah, right there, yep. I was watching a little bit of him, and he seems like a good fit for a strong safety. He's good in the box. I don't know how his coverage skills are, but I've heard people speak really highly of him. So I'm gonna take a shot on him here.
Marquise Bell from Florida A&M, a smaller school. Be interesting to see how he would play out in the league. Cam Jurgens just went off. Tyreek Smith, your guy, just went.
Alontae Taylor, great corner. They said he could play safety, but I don't know. He'd be a guy I would be interested in if we didn't have so many quality corners at this point.
Leon O'Neal. Here we are back again at pick 172. Yeah, Pierre Strong's a super fast running back out of South Dakota State. Kevin Austin Jr. tested super well.
Yeah, have you watched any Kevin Austin?
I haven't. I just know he tested super well. Like he was one of the fastest receivers at the draft or at the combine. Derek Deese, JT Woods, Bo Melton, Tyquan Thornton. He was that super fast receiver from Baylor who ran like a 4.2 something. Chig Okonkwo, that's my tight end that I want the Niners to take.
Here I say let's either do one of those receivers or your tight end.
I think receiver would be a little bit more important here.
Let's go. Let's go with our guy Tyquan. You know, we need that speed.
The burner.
Yep, we need that burner on the roster, and he has decent size.
Good size too. 6'3", 182. It's great size. Let's see. Can you look up his 40 time real quick?
Who, Tyquan?
Yep.
4.28.
4.28 40. Blazing fast. At 6'3" as well. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's not like John Ross who ran a 4.24 or whatever, 4.22, and he was like 5'9", 5'10".
He's probably going to be one of those guys that goes a lot higher in the draft just because of that. He'll probably go in like the second, third round, to be honest. But he's here now.
JT Woods. We already got our safety. Bo Melton, pretty good receiver.
Your guy's still there. I thought he went off.
Chig.
Take him.
Chig.
Take him.
Tight end. Like we said in the last pod, this dude is a clone of Delaney Walker in terms of size, and the way he tested at the combine in his pro days, like, is so similar. You couldn't tell a difference. So I would take a shot on Chig here in the 6th round. Great value.
Take him and pray Matt Ariza is still available with our next pick.
Matt Ariza, the punter from San Diego State, is Joseph's ultimate draft crush, a punter. Yep. But he is pretty good. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that he has highlights on YouTube, which is insane for a punter.
And he is the best available player. Let's go.
Matt Ariza. Time for Mitch Wishnowski to kick the rocks.
Here I am probably looking. Is our guy here? Yep, our guy's here.
Yep, Max Borghi.
For those that don't know, Max Borghi is he reminds you of Christian McCaffrey, not because they're both white guys, but because they're both great pass catching backs out of the backfield.
I mean, if you look here, 2019, this is insane. 127 rushing attempts for 817 yards. And then he had 96 targets, 85 receptions on 96 targets for 593 yards. Like, that's insane. You
And
gotta.
he's like I said, you want to bring in someone. I wanted to upgrade the third down back on the team. Max Borghi, instant upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. Great pick. Great value pick right there. Eric
Ooh, my
Uzakama, you guy just
guy.
went. Yeah, you
Man,
skipped
Eric
over him.
Uzakama, he ran a 4.55 at his pro day, and the dude is like a bigger Debo. The way he plays, he's a yak guy. He would be great in the offense. He played running back in high school.
Yeah. Would you have would you have rather taken Uzakama over Ariza at that one pick right there?
You could go either way because we did bring in the burner. So I mean the receiving room's full. You know what I mean?
True. Yep. Here at this pick I like taking I would like looking at like Connor Hayward. I saw Robbie
Another
Gold's
tight end.
he would fullback. He would transition to a fullback.
But that's
6
one
foot
thing we
230.
missed in the news. Kyle Juszczyk is on the team till
Yeah.
2025 now.
Yeah, true. Actually, very true. I forgot about that. So that makes that pick kind of worthless.
And
I would like
practice
Dicker the
squad.
kicker.
We brought in Ariza.
But Ariza's a punter. You don't want your
But
punter to kick as well. I know he can kick. We all know he can kick because you advocate for him. But you don't want your punter to kick field goals as well.
but I don't think the 49ers will bring in a kicker until
Yeah.
Robbie's gone because he makes too much money.
When his contract was guaranteed already for this year, I think, too.
Yeah.
So
One guy that could be interesting, I haven't watched him yet, but I know he's a primary slot, is a Jacoby Durant from the small school. He's
South
supposed to
Carolina
be a
State,
pretty good slot guy from small school, but
5'11", 180.
I haven't seen anything about him yet, to be honest.
Gave up 30 receptions on 63 targets for 419 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3 picks and a passer rating of 65.5. Like 72 in the slot and 660 at regular corner. He's shorter though. He's 5'10", 5'11". So that could be interesting. Would you say Jacoby Durant or EJ Perry?
I haven't watched EJ Perry, but you seem to like him. So
I just take him at here because it doesn't hurt to have an extra quarterback. You never know what you're going to get with
if I was taking a QB here, I'm taking Cole Kelly.
Well, Kelly.
Yeah, the dude, I watched him at the combine. He's probably way down the board. The dude is 6'7", and he was throwing dots at the combine. Yeah,
This dude, Southeastern
he
Louisiana.
that dude, he came from the SEC, transferred down, 6'7", 260. Dude's a baller.
5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, 10 picks. Jeez. Yeah, that is pretty legit. We'll go, we'll take that slot corner because I don't think we drafted a slot corner, did we?
No.
Yeah, I think that's a good value. You get your slot corner in the 7th round. That's pretty solid. So here is our grade. Oof. A D for Perry.
They don't know, man. They don't know.
Marquise Bell, a D. Tyquan Thornton, a D. Chig, a C-, Ariza, a C-. They like the Jacoby pick, Jacoby Durant, and Borghi. Overall, B-, not bad.
They'll learn.
I could see why they would say no to Perrion Winfrey just because, like we said, we have a lot of depth, but he is an impact player. Like he can
They're
come
pretty
in
low
and,
on him too. I think he's going to go closer to the first round.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll be here at pick 61 as well. Cole Strange, beast. We've got an A on that one, you know. Like we said, he can come in and start at that guard spot right away. Kellen Deach, A-. Like we said, come in, be a swing tackle at the least. If they need him to switch to guard for a year, that's fine. I think he'd be great depth behind Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey. Marquise Bell, another shot in the dark. He can come in and compete against Odom, Tavarius Moore, and Hufanga. Tyquan Thornton, our burner, stretch that field for Trey Lance, let him use that arm, which I think would be great. If you can have a 6'3" receiver that runs a 4.28 in the slot, that's
That'd be
money.
great.
Yeah, that's money. Chig, I think would be a great second tight end behind Kittle. Being able to use him in jet sweeps, screen passes like how they use Kittle. I think you could do that with Chig as well. You can touch on Ariza and Borgie.
Ariza going to punt 80 yards. You're always going to flip the field. You're not going to give the team the ball at the 50 every time if you're pinned in your own end zone. And then if your kicker gets hurt, like they do when they're old, he's gonna come in and kick 50-yard field goals. Max Borgi, great at pass catching out of the backfield. Pretty good zone runner as well. So he fits the scheme. Jacoby Durant, it's a shot in the dark slot guy. We don't really know if the 49ers need a slot this year. It's going to depend how their corner position plays out. Same with safety. We don't really know if they're actually looking at safeties because maybe they think they have what they need, but we'll see.
Yep. I agree. What if Matt Ariza turns out to be like Robert Aguayo out of Florida State?
Then you took him in the 6th round. It is what it is.
Very true. Very true.
You took Mitch in the 4th round, and he's punting 20 yards.
Yeah, true. Alrighty. We're working. Stay tuned with us. We're working our butts off to try to get some guests to come on and talk some football with us. So stay tuned. What do you got any closing thoughts?
Yes, so I am going to be going live. I don't know. Alex might have work, but when the 49ers are coming up close to being on the clock on the draft, I'm going to be live. So tune in if you want to talk. We're going to do live analysis of the pick, and then I'll probably drop a shadow pick of who I would have drafted, and we're going to put together our shadow draft as they're going through it. So it should be an interesting time. Tune in, and we'll have some fun.
That's around Joseph's birthday as well. That end of April time frame. So I'm sure I'll be on. It might be 3, 4 in the morning out here in Spain, but I'll be on just like I was last year. Yep. So just stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to push out some good content for you guys. Yep. Thanks for all the support. You have anything else?
Nope. We'll see you on the next episode.
Alrighty. Peace.
Peace.